Let glory shine. From the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom. This is my climb. Let glory shine. It's the power inside.
Welcome back to Let Glory Shine. I'm your host, Martha Glory, and I'm back for another powerful episode. Again, I love how the universe makes connections through people that are doing cool things, and the alignment just felt immediate when I got to meet this young lady that I'm getting ready to introduce you to. And when you meet somebody and you see the light in their eyes and you see that, wow, they have a story, a powerful story, but also they have a powerful healing that's unfolding. And that is Rania. I can't wait for you to meet her. So, welcome to the stage, Rania. How are
Thank
you?
you. Thank you. I'm very well. Very
Thank
well.
you for being here on Let Glory Shine. We're going to jump right into it. This is a platform talking about healing, talking about the things that we've been through. Trauma doesn't define us after we have been on a healing journey, but it is part of our story. And so I would love for you to share with my audience anything that you feel comfortable sharing about your healing story, and we'll roll from there.
Thank you for the introduction. Trauma is a big word, and not too many people actually understand what trauma is. Unfortunately, to this day, with all the knowledge that we have, some people don't get it. They sometimes think that we go through things in life, right? And we just get over it. And that was the trauma, but it actually wasn't. And they just say, okay, well, yeah, move on with life and let's forget about it. But yeah, so of course, like many others, I have a story, a life story, but I don't let my story identify me, just as you mentioned. And we go through things in life, and it's the things that happen to us, right, that affect us emotionally, mentally, and physically. And now it's up to us how to process what happened to us. That's where trauma comes in. I'm just trying to ease into the definition of trauma here. So, trauma is not what happened to you, it's not the actual event, it's how you internalized it. It's what happened inside of you in order for you to handle what happened to you. And sometimes it's easier to process, and sometimes it sits in there and it grows with you and it ends up triggering you. And then we just, go a whole life of trying to heal this trauma that sometimes even is unnoticed and unknown because we're not paying attention.
I love that the way that you explain trauma, because I this is how I explain it in coaching as well. Trauma is not the event,
Yeah.
right? Trauma is not the thing that happened to you. Trauma is actually the identities that we pick up because of the event. So it's the unloved, unwanted, abandoned, fear, all of those things that we pick up from the event. So I call them unfortunate events, or unfortunate circumstances, but the actual trauma is the things that we identify by because of the unfortunate event, just like you shared.
Yes.
So in your life, how have you come to this place where you go, oh, it's not the thing that happened to me, it's the identities that I picked up, it's what I allowed to, in my processing of event, to become who I was, right? How do you undo that? And how did you come to that place first? Because that took me a lot of years.
Same here, Martha. It took me a lot of years too, only till recent time. I'm admitting that just a few years ago when I started doing the healing work. And I say this, it took me being broken down to my knees totally to wake up. And sometimes that's what it takes. It's like as if life throws things at you, left, right, center, to wake you up or to make you see that, hey, you need to heal this, you need to heal this. But then you're not paying attention, and then boom, it hits you. And I ended up in a narcissistic marriage. And that hit me hard because it was abuse of all kinds. And I was not expecting that. You think that, this stuff doesn't happen to you, it just happens to other people, and you read about it, hear about it, and you're like, oh no, that's too bad. And you never think it would happen to you, right? You think that you're above that in a way, not above that in the sense as like you're better than that, but as in like, I'm smart. Like, there's no way I'm gonna let this happen to me. But this is where trauma comes in right here, is because I had unhealed wounds from childhood, which was part of the trauma that I was dealing with, that led me to attracting relationships. And I'm putting an S to this one, okay, not just one, more than one, where I ended up in a toxic environment, not realizing that I was ending up in a toxic environment every single time, or I was making the wrong choice. But again, my trauma led me into that. And it took that last one a few years back to break me. I'm saying that I was broken. And now I'm looking back at it and I go, I'm actually glad this happened. And in a funny way, and I know people may laugh at this, I thank him. I know that sounds so crazy, but I say thank you for showing me what I needed to heal. Not thank you for what you did to me, because it was not okay. Absolutely not. But I thank you for showing up in my life at the time that you did, when I was ready to confront myself with what I needed to heal, to know that I am worthy, that I am enough, that I don't need anyone to provide me anything, because I can give it to myself and it's within me. The love that I was searching for, the acceptance that I was searching for, all of that. It took that to bring me to the point where I am here today. I'm not gonna tell you I'm 100% healed, because healing is an ongoing process, and you and I discussed that when we spoke, that it's a journey that we're on, and there's layers that we peel, right? And triggers are gonna continuously happen, as we are on that journey. But we give ourselves grace and we recognize where we were and where we are now. And then in my case and in your case, we've been through situations and we decided that we want to help others on that journey, take people along with us, because what we happened was not supposed to be in vain, right? It was meant to not only heal us, but also for us to serve the world that we are in and feel the purpose that why we're here. Yeah, that's, I guess, a long answer to what you asked.
No, that's beautiful. Rania, I have to say, how powerful it is to be able to say thank you to those that hurt us, right? And I know exactly what you're talking about because I have as well. I have thanked the cult leader. I have thanked my abusers because without those experiences, how else would I have learned the lessons that I've learned? How else would I learn how strong I am, how resilient I am, how worthy I am, how lovable I can be for myself, right? How I guess there's other ways that I could have learned it, but this was for my life. The things that happened, I then was able to say, okay, those can't be me, right? So who am I? I had to ask myself those hard questions. And those gave me those situations and those circumstances and those events created the place where I became so detached from who I was that I had to make a choice. And I had to say, is this all that God created? Or is there more, right? And so I had to go back and look and re-identify, rediscover, reclaim who I was because it is all inside of us. Everything we've ever needed and will ever need is already inside of us. But the culture and society tells us that we need to find it out here somewhere, and somebody has the magic pill, and somebody has the magic coaching program or the magic ant. No, it's in here. And so to be able to say thank you to the things and the people that have hurt us the most is so powerful. And to say, I forgive you and I'm grateful, not for what happened, but that it happened so that I could grow from it, that I could learn from it, so I could stand in my power, I could reclaim who I was. Right. So that I just want to say thank you. And that is so courageous. And I resonate with that so, so deeply. So thank you. The power of choice, Rania. I want you to talk about that moment where you had to make the choice. You've had to make a lot of choices to get out of that narcissistic abuse, to end that marriage, right? I want to talk about the power of choice.
Martha, there was a moment. There was actually one moment, and I have a feeling that it's that one moment for every single person out there. I truly feel it, that it is one moment. And although I was on a journey of learning and understanding what I was actually into by obviously social media and reading books and whatnot, it took a moment. I was on a phone call with my friend, and I was telling her the situation that I was in. And she was like, well, just leave then. And I said to her, no, I can't. I'm not allowed to leave. And she said, are you kidding me? Are you listening to yourself right now, Rania? What do you mean you can't leave? I said, he goes to the door and stops me from leaving. She's like, well, then I'll come get you. And I said, but he may hit you. Oh, that was her trigger where she went off and she's like, what? What do you mean? He can't lay a hand on me. Are you kidding me right now? Rania, wake up. Are you listening to yourself? This is not the Rania that I know. And it woke me up when she yelled at me on the phone. A moment I will be eternally grateful for that friend of mine who woke me up and said, you know who you are, Anya. You know you can get out. And I'm not going to tell you that it was that moment that everything happened. Of course not. But it was the moment that something shifted inside of me. And I was like, yeah, I can go. That's not the Rania that I know. The Rania I know is way stronger than this. And Rania can do this. The how and the when, I'll figure it out. But it was that moment that the decision was made, where the shift was made, where I went from powerless to powerful.
Wow. When you were telling and sharing that about that your friend, right? God or the universe has this way of putting a mirror in front of us to remind us who we are. And your friend was your mirror, right? For you to say, for her to say, this isn't the Rania I know. This isn't the Rania I love. And we have to look back at the reflection and argue with them. Well, am I this version? Heck no, right? Something in our consciousness is reminded through the mirror of no, this isn't. These are things that have happened to me, but no, our soul always knows better. Our soul always knows how to get us out, how to save us, how to help us, right? We have to trust ourselves enough to say enough. And so no, it's not this like oh now we understand now snap crackle pop we're out of the no. But the shift is everyone has that shift when they have to make a tough choice. Everyone. You cannot get out of abusive relationships or toxic this or whatever. You can't make those changes without a shift. And then you say, "Okay, now I know I'm reclaiming this part of me. Now the who, what, where, and when and how will come together." But
Mhm.
first, you have to trust yourself to know that you're worthy of more. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, you mentioned at the beginning that didn't happen once, it happened again, right? And we talked before we started recording when we first met about the cycle of abuse, the cycle
Mhm.
of things that happened in our childhood, how we bring those into our adulthood because it's all we know. It's the energy that we put out, the vibrations that we bring in, right? And so we end up creating that cycle again. And the only way to break that cycle is to recognize that there was a cycle. When did you realize that you were creating a cycle once again? And when did you decide never again?
I think it ties into me healing from that marriage after I walked out of it. So I took some drastic measures to heal. I left the country. Like some people just like move here, hide away or whatever. I just left the country altogether. And it was in that healing process. I can't remember exactly the moment, but I do recall that I realized that the pattern stemmed from, like I mentioned earlier, childhood wounds. And I saw it very clearly and painfully. because you don't want to see the worst in your family. You always want to see the best in them. It's the last thing you want to confront yourself with and say, well, I was used to this kind of abuse. That's why I tolerated it. That's why I continued in it. That's why I attracted people that ended up doing the same thing to me. I self-sabotaged myself with my choices. And I convinced myself that that's normal because that was normal. And it is in confronting where it originated from that hurt the most. It actually hurt me more knowing where it came from than the choices and the relationships I was in, including that toxic, horrible marriage that I was mentioning earlier. That was one thing on its own. But the pain from that was less, believe it or not, than the pain knowing that those whom I needed to be loved by and treated with respect and to be taught the foundation of what love is wasn't. And then there goes another moment. So it's not just the realizing of this and being confronted with it and sitting with the pain, it's learning to forgive that too. Forgive it simply because I don't want to live in resentment or anger because then it hurts me twice. Letting go of it is not easy. And I'm going to admit I'm going through it till now, till this moment, to be able to just let it go. I have to continuously tell myself, they only did the best they knew how. It's not on purpose. It's not like they're out to get you. It's not like they just woke up and they said, I want to hurt Rania today. It's not about that. And that is the one thing I keep repeating in my own show as well when I talk to people all the time. And I say, yes, we are talking about the childhood wounds. We are talking about how we weren't loved, we weren't treated with the way we were supposed to be treated, and it caused all this trauma. But it's not about bad mouthing them or making out to be these bad, evil people. They're still good people.
Yeah.
They just didn't know any better. They believed that this was the right way of parenting. They believed that this is love.
Yeah.
They believed it. And because we're in different realities now, we're living in two different perspectives altogether. It's beyond let's agree to disagree. It's beyond that. It's now come to a point where it's like, okay, well, we're living in different realities now. So not what now? And what happened. You can't change it. You can't go back and change time, right? And even you may not even hear the words "I'm sorry." You may not even hear admittance that, hey, maybe I didn't do the best that I could. Now, there are parents who are capable of getting to that level with their adult children in the future and say, you know what? I'm sorry that I did this to you, but I really didn't know that that's what I was doing to you. I apologize. And that helps in the healing and that helps in the mending of the relationship and maybe changing the dynamic for the future. It could happen.
Yeah.
But in other situations, like in mine, it didn't happen. And I am accepting that it will never happen. Because again, that's who they are.
Well, and understanding that they're just repeating the things that happened to them.
Yes.
And so if they didn't heal those wounds and they didn't see anything wrong with it, right? They are going to recreate it as well. And yes, if they didn't gain tools, if they didn't learn from it, grow from it, and they're going to repeat it because they can't do anything else. That is what they know. We only create what we know. We only give what we were given, right? And understanding that they're not bad people because they were subpar, right? Doesn't make them bad people. It makes us be able to say, okay, if that was your best, then I have to accept it, right? And in my life, I've been so lucky to have parents that in the last few years are like, as they've watched me on this healing journey, are like, oh, holy crap, like we didn't realize what we did, right? but they're learning now. And it's a very painful process in their 70s to be like, those, we weren't parents. We're so sorry. We were doing the best that we could, but now we know better. And now they're trying to parent, 30, 40, and 50-year olds because we're all grown. And that's a whole different experience, right? But they're up for the challenge and they have taken responsibility and acknowledged, where they weren't what we needed, right? And made bad decisions based on that. But they have to continue to make the decisions every day and they're really difficult for them, because they're like, it was so much easier to parent out of ignorance. Because
You're right.
once you know, you're now responsible for what you know.
Hmm. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We are responsible once we know. And you can't, once you've really felt it and are in it, you can't be like, oh, that's too hard. I'm just going to turn it off. It will haunt you because you know. Right? And then we're responsible for what we do with it. And, some days their responsibility is like, this sucks. This is way too hard. I didn't sign up for this. And I'm going to resort to my old patterns, which they do, right?
Mhm.
And there's times that I still do that, right? Because we are so programmed. But the luxury for me now is I catch myself very quickly and I was like, no, 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 that is not who Martha Glory is. And
Yeah,
it's easy for me to apologize and it's easy for me to get back on track because
yeah,
I am responsible for me. I am responsible for my healing. I am responsible for my growth. I am responsible for what I put out and what I allow in. So, all right, Rania, so tell us about what you're doing now. I know that you have a powerful podcast, the Healing Train podcast, that I want you to tell my audience about. But what else are you doing with your pain, with your mission, with your vision, and how are you serving now?
yeah. So, Martha, with this type of pain that we're talking about, it's not easy for people to be vulnerable and be open about it and come and ask for help. We know this because we've been through it, right? So asking for help is hard. So although I began my journey once I started going on that journey of helping other people through what I went through, it's hard to find the people who would be committed and dedicated that are in the toxic relationship still because they're blinded,
Yep.
most of them. They're blinded or they're helpless and they don't have the finances to seek that professional help, right? And originally, that's what I wanted to do. That's what I really, all my focus was. But then I had to pivot in my practice and now help people who are in the healing journey, who are actually already out or made a decision to leave or whatever the scenario is. But they had to have already done the shift.
Yeah.
I'm not able to reach the person that hasn't done the shift yet because she's blinded or he's blinded, right? So yeah, I help people in the healing journey, coaching them to rebuild because that's what it's about. You're starting from scratch. I did it, and many others did it. When you go through this change, big change, you're healing yourself emotionally, mentally, physically. Your nervous system has to calm down. You have to figure out who am I now? What do I want to do with my life? How do I stand on my own 2 feet again? And then there's sometimes kids involved, right? Like in my situation, there wasn't, and thank God for that. But there are situations where there are kids and you still have to co-parent, and oh boy, right? And then the separation physically is one thing, but then doing the legalities is another, right? Now we're talking legal separation. So it can get very ugly. And that's what I'm here for, to help those women. But I'm focused a lot now on the programs and that I've creating online, as well as my podcast. That is my main focus these days. And my podcast originally started as, again, helping women who were in toxic relationships to hear other women's stories again, the same way you and I are doing right now, to help them understand that you can leave, that there is life after, it is possible for you. That's how it began, the idea. But then I ended up widening the healing of what we need to heal from, like opened up a whole new, Pandora's box, let's say. And it's just amazing how much things that we actually need to heal from that could be the cause of why we end up in these relationships to begin with. So it's like you're looking at the cause and effect and the signs and the symptoms, and so we're looking at a holistic healing at this point, right? It's not just about you healing from toxic relationships, but what got you into toxic relationship to begin with, and that's like the self-worth, the conditioning from culture, whatever it is, beliefs that you're carrying with you. And we talk about those subjects on the healing train with amazing guests. And I'm just very happy about it. It's my passion right now. It's true. I love it. I love it. I didn't know that I would love it so much. I began the journey about a year ago now. And I hope I can continue. I mean, it's a lot of work, and you're doing it as well. So it's a lot of work, but I do what I can.
It doesn't feel like work though when you love it so much, when you find such passion, and when you, at least for me, it's a passion project. It's something that feeds me, right? Like watching others that have gone through their own healing journeys, getting to interview them, getting to talk to them, getting to share, tricks and tips and things that worked for them, for us and each other, right? There's something powerful in that community aspect of understanding we're not alone, right? There's something powerful understanding we're not alone. And so I hear you, and as much work as it is, it's all worth it, because what we're putting out into the world is powerful and it's impactful, and it will help so many others. Because you never know who will run up on your show, will run up on your podcast, and it's exactly what they need at exactly that right time. And I just trust that that's the work that we're doing. So thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being here today. Wow. I think we could talk another 30 minutes or an hour, because you're just, I see the light in your eyes, and I see that the work that you're doing fills you in a way that nothing else that you've done has, right? And that's when you know that you're on the right track. That's when you know that you are tuned in to her. You are tuned in to who you were meant to be. So thank you so much for being on Let Glory Shine. I always end every episode the same way, and that's asking my guest, what does it mean for you, Rania, to let your glory shine?
Ooh, what does it mean for me to let my glory shine? That I give myself permission to show up authentically.
And what does that mean authentically for you?
Being the version of me that is consistent, not one behind camera versus in front of the camera. The woman that is sitting here with you talking is the same woman that's talking with her friends and family and just interacting in the world. I am no different.
Yes.
And that's the authenticity that I believe in, is that I don't want to be one person like this and one person like that. This is me.
Yes.
All
Yes.
of me.
Yes. We no longer have to wear the mask. I talk about that a lot. Like, I no longer have to have a mask that I go to work in, and then a mask for at home, and a mask for me when I go to see my family. Now it's just me. I love that. Wow. Powerful. Rania, thank you so much for being on Let Glory Shine. I am so appreciative of everything that you have shared today, and I can't wait to continue to follow your journey.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Let Glory Shine. I'll see you next week. Same place, same station. Good night.
Let glory shine. From the ashes I rise. Every scar a story, every tear baptized. This is my freedom. This is my climb. Let glory shine. It's the power inside. This is your prosperity.